Hello everyone. Welcome back. Today, we've got some crucial news you don't want to miss. Let's dive right into the top financial headlines and break down what's happening. 2 key developments to watch. 1. US PMI data shows strong economic growth. This morning, the US released its November Purchasing Managers Index, PMI, data, a widely tracked indicator of economic trends. For those unfamiliar, PMI is a forward-looking metric that gauges the pace of economic expansion. In November, the SP Global US Composite PMI rose to 55.3, up from October's 54.1. This marks the fastest economic expansion in over 2.5 years. Naturally, Wall Street's initial reaction was overwhelmingly positive. However, some investors are already speculating about its impact on monetary policy, specifically, whether such strong economic data might derail a potential 25 basis point rate cut expected next month. Markets, as always, are caught between optimism and caution. For comparison, the UK and the Eurozone also released their PMI data today. As anticipated, both regions remain in contraction territory, with the UK's PMI falling below 50 and the Eurozone's composite PMI hitting a year low of 48.1. This indicates that their economies are likely to shrink further in December. These numbers highlight a growing divergence between the US and Europe's economic trajectories. Before the 2008 financial crisis, the economies of the US and Europe were more closely aligned, often rising or falling together. Since then, however, the US has significantly outpaced Europe in economic performance. While this trend is widely acknowledged, it raises an important question: why has Europe struggled to keep up? It's a topic that deserves more scrutiny, especially from policymakers on both sides of the Atlantic. 2. Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index, a tale of two parties. Today, the University of Michigan released its November Consumer Sentiment Index, a key measure of how Americans feel about the economy. While many institutions publish consumer confidence data, the University of Michigan's index is considered the most authoritative. What stood out this time was the partisan breakdown of consumer sentiment, a rare focus in such reports. According to the Wall Street Journal, the headline could be summed up as "Republicans are feeling better about the economy." The data shows a significant 15-point jump in consumer confidence among Republican households in November, while confidence among Democrats dropped by over 10 points. Overall, the U.S. Consumer Sentiment Index rose from 70.5 in October to 71.8 in November, driven primarily by the shift in Republican sentiment. Does this mean Republicans are now more optimistic about spending than Democrats? Not necessarily. Historically, Democrats tend to exhibit higher levels of consumer confidence. Even after November's decline, their index sits at 81.3, down from over 90 before the election. Meanwhile, Republican confidence, despite its rise, stands at 69.1. Republicans remain cautious spenders by comparison. Adding to this, Pew Research released a report today on partisan views of the nation's direction. Before the election, only 10% of Republicans expressed a positive outlook on the country's state. That figure has since jumped to 35%. On the other hand, Democratic satisfaction dropped from 38% pre-election to 24% afterward. Pew also found that 59% of Americans now believe Donald Trump can effectively address major economic challenges, up from 55% in September. Key takeaways. The Wall Street Journal concluded that Republicans tend to experience sharper emotional swings in response to political events. They're also harder to please, maintaining a more skeptical or reserved outlook, whether it's about the nation's trajectory or personal spending habits. What drives this difference in sentiment between the two parties? That's an open question. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Next, Kim Jong Un makes headlines again. North Korean leader Kim Jong Un is back in the international spotlight, grabbing headlines in major media outlets today. The Wall Street Journal ran with the headline, "Kim Jong Un's message to Trump, we're not interested." Meanwhile, Bloomberg reported, Kim Jong Un says past Trump talks only confirmed US hostility. These headlines reveal why Kim's comments are making waves. With Donald Trump's election victory, speculation has grown about whether their relationship might return to the dynamic seen during Trump's first term. Could Trump's unique brand of diplomacy shift Kim's aggressive posture, which has recently included threats of war with South Korea and support for Russia's military efforts? Kim's statements today seem intended to quash such speculation, at least for now. What did Kim say? According to Bloomberg, Kim Jong Un's remarks came during a weapons exhibition showcasing North Korea's latest missile capabilities, including systems designed to strike the US mainland. He dismissed the value of past negotiations with Washington, claiming they only reinforced his belief in America's unchanging hostility. "We've held as many talks with the US as possible," Kim said, "but what we've confirmed isn't a willingness to coexist as superpowers. Instead, we've seen their uncompromising stance on strength, aggression, and an unwavering hostility toward North Korea." These comments arrive amid speculation that Trump's return to the presidency could lead to another shift in US strategy toward Pyongyang. During his campaign, Trump repeatedly emphasized his great relationship with Kim. His first term featured unprecedented diplomacy, including high-profile summits that aimed, unsuccessfully, to resolve decades-old disputes. Could Trump and Kim reignite their unconventional diplomacy? Trump's diplomatic style has always been unpredictable, often producing surprises and unexpected breakthroughs. While Kim's recent remarks signal indifference, or even hostility, toward re-engagement with the US, it's premature to rule out the possibility of renewed talks. If Trump officially returns to the White House, could their dynamic take a new turn? It's not outside the realm of possibility that the two leaders might rekindle their previous rapport, reshaping US-North Korea relations in ways that defy expectations. As always with Trump and Kim, the only certainty is unpredictability. The third area that I share with you today is latest updates on Donald Trump. News about Donald Trump continues to dominate American media coverage 24/7. Whether by design or natural charisma, Trump's ability to command attention is unparalleled. Today, three key developments involving Trump have been the focus of major US outlets. 1. Trump scores a major legal victory. CNBC reports on a significant legal win for Trump with the headline, "Trump hush money sentencing delayed indefinitely." The report details a New York judge's decision to indefinitely postpone the trial related to Trump's alleged hush money payments. The judge has also allowed Trump's legal team to file a motion to dismiss the case entirely. At the center of this legal battle is the claim that Michael Cohen, Trump's former attorney, paid adult film star Stormy Daniels to silence allegations of an affair with Trump years ago. Manhattan prosecutors have supported delaying the trial to give Trump's legal team time to argue for dismissal. While prosecutors oppose dropping the case, their softened stance signals a willingness to wait until after Trump's term ends. Trump's spokesperson, Min Jong, a Vietnamese American, according to reports, celebrated the decision, calling it a decisive victory. The Manhattan case, a political hoax, has now been indefinitely delayed, Jong stated. Every baseless legal attack against President Trump is being dismantled. This ruling not only grants Trump breathing room but strengthens his position as legal battles continue to swirl around him. 2. Turbulence in Trump's cabinet picks. The Wall Street Journal highlighted growing resistance within the GOP to Trump's cabinet nominations with the headline, "Botched Gates nomination shows limits of Trump's hold over GOP." Trump has faced significant pushback over key cabinet picks. For example, former Congressman Matt Gaetz withdrew from consideration for Attorney General after mounting opposition from Senate Republicans. Similarly, the nomination of former Fox News personality Pete Hegseth for Defense Secretary appears to be in jeopardy, while former Democratic Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, Trump's pick to lead the National Intelligence Agency, has drawn scrutiny for her unorthodox views. Some Senate Republicans have expressed concerns about Trump's proposed nominees, signaling that they're willing to push back against his decisions despite broadly supporting his vision to reshape the federal bureaucracy. Senator Mitch McCloughan commented on the failed nomination of Gaetz, saying, "The president has the right to nominate who he sees fit, but the Senate has the duty to advise and consent. In this case, it's more advice than consent." Gaetz, known for past allegations of misconduct, faced a long-standing ethics investigation over accusations involving underage individuals. Hegseth has also faced allegations of sexual misconduct, both of which the nominees have denied. The resistance to Trump's nominations reflects the complex dynamics within the GOP. While Trump remains a dominant figure, his influence has its limits, as seen in the Senate's willingness to challenge some of his decisions. 3. GOP donor criticizes Trump's tariff plan. The Financial Times ran the headline, "Trump's tariff plan would put US on path to crony capitalism," Griffin says. Ken Griffin, one of the Republican Party's largest donors, has raised concerns about Trump's proposed universal tariffs and immigration restrictions. Griffin, who donated $100 million to Republican candidates this cycle, argued that Trump's economic policies could create inflationary pressures and a breeding ground for special interest groups. Speaking at the New York Economic Club, Griffin warned that higher tariffs would encourage lobbying by inefficient domestic industries and foreign governments. Washington's halls will be filled with special interests seeking to stifle competition, he said, adding that Trump's policies risk promoting crony capitalism. Griffin also expressed skepticism about Trump's tax policies, arguing that there is little room for further tax cuts without addressing fiscal deficits. Insights into U.S. political dynamics. These stories shed light on the intricate nature of American politics. Here are 2 takeaways. Tariff concerns and cronyism risks. Trump's proposed universal tariffs would give government officials significant discretion to negotiate terms, raising concerns about corruption. Griffin's warning underscores fears that both foreign governments and U.S. companies might exploit the system, turning trade policy into a battleground for lobbying rather than fair competition. Big donors and political influence. Griffin's critique highlights the role of mega donors in shaping party agendas. Interestingly, Griffin has not explicitly supported Trump but remains one of the GOP's top financial backers. This reflects the complex web of alliances within U.S. politics, where Donald maintaining independence from individual candidates. Trump's threats to use his influence against uncooperative senators also illustrate the high stakes of political fundraising in the U.S. For many lawmakers, securing campaign funds is essential to their careers, making them susceptible to pressure from leaders like Trump or donors like Elon Musk and Griffin. Ultimately, these dynamics reveal both the challenges and the influence of money in shaping America's political landscape. Finally, let's focus on U.S.-China decoupling. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has issued a series of executive orders targeting economic ties with China, signaling a broader shift in U.S.-China relations. These actions underscore growing momentum in the U.S. to decouple economically from China, sparking international attention. Details from Reuters report. According to Reuters, Governor Abbott cited financial and security risks as the basis for his orders, mandating state agencies to cease new investments in China and divest existing ones as quickly as possible. In a letter to state institutions dated November 21, he stated that the Chinese Communist Party's hostile actions posed unacceptable risks to Texas investments. Key points from the directive include: a complete ban on new investments in China by state agencies, mandatory divestment of all current holdings tied to China. This directive affects major institutions like the Texas Teacher Retirement System, which manages $210.5 billion in assets, including $1.4 billion in Chinese-denominated assets. The system also holds Tencent stock valued at approximately $385 million, which will now need to be sold. Similarly, the University of Texas Investment Management Company, which oversees nearly $80 billion, has already been instructed to withdraw its investments from China. 2 key implications. 1. Ripple effects on global markets. Although this is a state-level decision, its global ramifications are significant. Texas' move could set a precedent for other Republican-led states, such as Florida, to adopt similar measures. If this trend gains momentum and extends to Democrat-controlled states, it could eventually lead to federal legislation, accelerating U.S.-China economic decoupling. This potential shift raises questions about its impact on China's financial markets. While the immediate drop in Chinese stocks cannot be directly linked to this announcement, the broader implications for global investor sentiment are undeniable. 2. Deeper U.S.-China economic decoupling. This development illustrates the tangible progression of U.S.-China economic decoupling. High-tech cooperation has already been curtailed, and restrictions on broader economic engagements are becoming more apparent. Governor Abbott's order reflects not just a federal directive, but growing alignment among U.S. state governments to support a tougher stance on China. As more states follow suit, the decoupling process will likely intensify. Beyond financial investments, restrictions on economic and technological exchanges may deepen, reshaping global trade and cooperation. Conclusion. Texas' decision underscores the active role U.S. state governments are playing in shaping the trajectory of U.S.-China economic relations. While its immediate impact might seem localized, the broader message is clear: economic decoupling is no longer just a federal policy but a nationwide movement. This shift poses challenges not only to Chinese enterprises but also to global investors navigating the uncertainties of a fragmented economic landscape. That's all for today. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more updates. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.